The neighbors noticed the smell first. It started in early March, drifting through the quiet residential streets of Oakdale, Pennsylvania, a small borough 20 miles northeast of Pittsburgh. Residents on Barton Street began closing their windows. Children stopped playing in adjacent yards. One homeowner called the borough's code enforcement office, convinced something had died in the crawlspace of the house at 847 Barton Street. The house had been abandoned for 3 years. Everyone knew that. The lawn stood knee-high with weeds. Paint peeled from the siding in long, curling strips. Windows were dark behind drawn curtains that never moved. The mailbox overflowed with junk mail that no one collected. But in mid-March 2019, the smell became impossible to ignore. On March 18th at 11:20 a.m., Oakdale Police Department received a formal complaint. The odor was described as overwhelming, nauseating, spreading across a 3-block radius. Officers Patricia Simmons and Kyle Brandt were dispatched to investigate. They approached the property at 11:47 a.m. The smell hit them from the curb. Officer Simmons would later describe it as one of the worst she'd encountered in 8 years of police work. It wasn't the smell of a dead animal. This was something else. Something that made her immediately call for backup and request a warrant. At 2:15 p.m., Judge Harold Kemp signed an emergency entry warrant. At 2:40 p.m., officers entered the house at 847 Barton Street. What they found inside would reveal a crime that had been hidden in plain sight for nearly 3 years. Her name was Denise Gallagher. She was 42 years old when she vanished on June 11, 2016. She worked as a pediatric nurse at Allegheny General Hospital in Pittsburgh. She had been married to Gregory Gallagher for 16 years. They had 2 children, Hannah, age 14, and Andrew, age 11. Her family reported her missing on June 13, 2016, after she failed to return home from what Gregory claimed was a weekend visit to her sister in Cleveland. Denise's sister, Maureen Fletcher, confirmed no such visit had been planned. She hadn't spoken to Denise in over a week. The investigation stalled almost immediately. Gregory Gallagher told investigators his wife had been unhappy for months. Depression, he suggested. Marital problems. He implied she might have simply left. Detective Raymond Torres noted inconsistencies in Gregory's timeline, but there was no evidence of foul play. No signs of struggle in the family home. No unusual financial activity. Denise's car remained in the garage. Her phone was turned off on June 12th at 8:34 p.m. It never turned back on. The case went cold within weeks. Denise Gallagher became one of thousands of missing persons in Pennsylvania. A photograph on a website, a name in a database, a family waiting for answers that never came. 3 years later, Gregory and the children no longer lived in their family home. They had moved to a rental property across town in late 2016. The house on Barton Street sat empty. Gregory claimed he couldn't bear to sell it. Too many memories, he told the real estate agent. He needed more time. He never listed it. He never went back. The house on Barton Street became a fixture of the neighborhood, ignored, avoided, forgotten, until the smell. When officers entered through the front door, the smell was suffocating. The interior was dark. Heavy curtains blocked every window. The air was stagnant, thick, oppressive. Officer Simmons activated her flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness, revealing a living room frozen in time. Furniture sat exactly as it had been left. A coffee mug remained on the end table. A magazine lay open on the couch. Nothing appeared disturbed. The smell grew stronger as they moved deeper into the house. They checked the kitchen. Empty. They checked the bathroom. Empty. They climbed the stairs to the second floor. The smell was overwhelming now, emanating from a closed door at the end of the hallway. The master bedroom. Officer Brandt opened the door at 2:52 p.m. The room was sealed. Duct tape lined the edges of the door frame. Heavy blankets had been nailed over the windows. The smell was concentrated, overpowering, impossible to mistake. Human decomposition. In the center of the room, partially wrapped in a blue tarp, was a body. The victim had been dead for years. The body was transported to the Allegheny County Medical Examiner's office on March 19th. Advanced decomposition made visual identification impossible. Dental records were requested for comparison against missing persons from the area. On March 22nd, the identification was confirmed. Denise Gallagher had been dead since June 2016. She had never left Oakdale. She had never abandoned her family. She had been inside that house the entire time, hidden in the bedroom of the home she shared with her husband, sealed behind a door, slowly decomposing while neighbors walked past on the sidewalk below. Cause of death: manual strangulation. Manner of death: homicide. The medical examiner found evidence of blunt force trauma to the skull consistent with being struck with a heavy object. Denise Gallagher had been beaten and strangled. Her body had been concealed in the master bedroom. Her husband had moved their children out of the house 6 weeks later. Gregory Gallagher was arrested on March 23, 2019, at his workplace in Pittsburgh. He was charged with criminal homicide, abuse of a corpse, and tampering with evidence. He did not resist arrest. He did not ask for a lawyer. He confessed within hours. The interrogation took place at the Allegheny County Police Department headquarters. Gregory Gallagher sat across from Detective Torres and Detective Carla Simmons. He was 45 years old, employed as an account manager for a regional insurance company. He had no prior criminal record. He told them everything. The fight had started over money. Denise wanted to leave him. She had discovered financial irregularities. Gregory had been gambling, accumulating debt, hiding losses from her for months. On the evening of June 11th, she confronted him. She threatened divorce, threatened to take the children. Gregory claimed he didn't plan to kill her. He described it as a moment of rage. He struck her with a table lamp. She fell. He panicked. He strangled her to make sure she was dead. Then he wrapped her body in a tarp and sealed it in the bedroom. He told the children their mother had left. He told investigators the same story. He moved his family to a rental property and never returned to the house. He paid the mortgage remotely. He paid the utilities to avoid suspicion. He kept the house exactly as it was, a tomb for the woman he murdered. For 3 years, Gregory Gallagher lived a normal life. He went to work. He attended his children's school events. He dated briefly in 2018. His co-workers described him as quiet, unremarkable, pleasant. No one suspected him. No one knew his wife was dead in a house 6 miles away, slowly decomposing behind a sealed bedroom door. Hannah and Andrew Gallagher were 17 and 14 when their father was arrested. They had believed for 3 years that their mother abandoned them. Gregory told them she left because she didn't love them anymore. He told them she started a new life somewhere else. He told them she didn't want contact. They mourned her absence. They resented her perceived abandonment. Learning the truth was devastating. Denise Gallagher had not left. She had been murdered by their father. She had been inside their old house the entire time. Every drive past Barton Street, every time they wondered why their father wouldn't sell the property, every moment they blamed their mother for leaving. She had been there, dead, hidden. The children were placed in the custody of Maureen Fletcher, Denise's sister. They began intensive therapy. Their childhood had been built on a lie. Their grief had been misdirected for years. Gregory Gallagher had not only killed his wife, he had stolen his children's ability to mourn her properly. Gregory Gallagher's trial began in Allegheny County Court on November 4, 2019. He pleaded not guilty despite his confession, claiming diminished capacity due to acute psychological distress at the time of the killing. The prosecution presented overwhelming evidence. The confession was recorded. The forensic evidence was irrefutable. The timeline was clear. Gregory Gallagher killed his wife, concealed her body, lied to his children and investigators, and maintained the deception for 3 years. The defense acknowledged the killing but argued it was not premeditated. They emphasized Gregory's lack of criminal history, his immediate confession once confronted, and the financial stresses he was under in June 2016. They characterized it as a crime of passion, not calculated murder. The prosecution disagreed. Assistant District Attorney Sharon Pruitt was methodical in her presentation. The concealment alone proved calculation. Gregory sealed the bedroom. He duct taped the door. He covered the windows. He moved his children out. He fabricated a story. He maintained utilities to avoid drawing attention. These were not the actions of someone overwhelmed by passion. These were the actions of someone covering up murder. The jury deliberated for 11 hours over 2 days. On November 19, 2019, Gregory Gallagher was found guilty of third-degree murder, abuse of a corpse, and tampering with evidence. The jury rejected the first-degree murder charge, accepting that the killing itself may not have been premeditated, but finding his actions afterward demonstrated full awareness and criminal intent. Judge Evelyn Monroe sentenced Gregory Gallagher on January 14, 2020. Third-degree murder, 20 to 40 years. Abuse of a corpse, 2 years, consecutive. Tampering with evidence, 1 year, consecutive. Total sentence, 23 to 43 years in state prison. Gregory Gallagher would be eligible for parole in 2043. He would be 68 years old. Hannah and Andrew Gallagher attended the sentencing. They sat beside their Aunt Maureen in the gallery. They did not speak to their father. They did not look at him. When given the opportunity to make a statement, Gregory addressed the court. He apologized to his children. He claimed he loved them. He said he never wanted them to experience what they experienced. Hannah left the courtroom during his statement. Andrew stared at the floor. Judge Monroe was direct in her remarks. Gregory Gallagher had not only killed his wife, he had subjected his children to years of unnecessary emotional trauma. He had forced them to believe their mother abandoned them. He had allowed them to resent her. He had denied them the ability to grieve properly. His actions were calculated. His deception was sustained. His cruelty extended far beyond the murder itself. The sentence reflected that. The house at 847 Barton Street was demolished in May 2020. The property was sold at auction. The proceeds went to Hannah and Andrew Gallagher through a trust established by their aunt. Neither of them wanted anything from the house. The demolition was completed in 3 days. A small park now occupies the lot where the house once stood. There is no marker, no memorial. The neighbors requested something peaceful, something that would erase the memory of what happened there. Hannah and Andrew Gallagher continue to live with their Aunt Maureen in a suburb outside Pittsburgh. They participate in ongoing therapy. They are healing, slowly. Denise Gallagher is buried at Resurrection Cemetery in Moon Township, Pennsylvania. Her grave overlooks a small pond. Her sister visits weekly. Her children visit when they are able. The investigation into her disappearance has been officially closed. Her case is no longer listed as unsolved. Her photograph has been removed from the missing persons database. She is no longer missing. She never was. She had been right there, hidden behind a sealed door, in a house no one would enter. Denise Gallagher was a pediatric nurse who dedicated her life to caring for children. Her colleagues remembered her as compassionate, patient, skilled. She saved lives. She comforted frightened kids. She made sick children smile. She deserved better than the death she received. She deserved better than the 3 years she spent hidden in that house. She deserved better than the lies told about her. Her children know that now. They are working to remember their mother as she was, not as their father portrayed her, not as the woman they were told abandoned them, but as the person who loved them completely. That is Denise Gallagher's legacy. Not the house on Barton Street, not the sealed bedroom. Her, the mother who never left.